All right, we are trying something out here. We're going live. We're live now. Sorry, I am so discombobulated here. Okay, all right, good. I was trying to get live here on Instagram. Okay, so that's what that was. And I was trying to figure it out, but I think I got it. Yes, I got it. Okay, good, good, good. Sorry about all of that. I feel stupid now, but anyway, let me see. Let me click on this and make sure that it's working. And I guess we're good to go. I guess we're good to go. All right. Well, welcome to another a live broadcast. This is our second week doing this, and this is our Samba Tree weekly health news update. And the reason why we do this is because we want to keep our people in the loop and informed on some of the things that's happening on the health front, things that you should be concerned about, things that you should be trying, but all of it is to move you forward. Yes, there's some things going on in the world today that aren't too happy, that don't put a smile on our face, right? But but we still need to know about these things so we know how to navigate through these waters, right? So we're going to be covering just over a few things. The last week, which was our first time doing this, I think we went way over a half an hour. I think it was almost 40 minutes. I'm going to try my best to go a lot shorter than that. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm sorry that when I first started, let me explain. Let me bring you into my world a little bit. Okay. I'm right now simultaneously broadcasting on Facebook. I'm on YouTube, and I'm on, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Yeah, those three platforms all simultaneously. Instagram, it has like its own way of me connecting. And so it was just really throwing me off because I don't typically go live for my other stuff on Instagram. So anyway, so now I learned today Instagram has its own little thing. So, okay, I'm good. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some things, shall we? And let's jump in. So I want to share with you our page. If you're watching this and this is your first time, welcome. And I'm so glad that you're here. And if you have any questions for me at all, you can feel free to, if there's like a chat feature there, whatever platform that you're watching, go ahead and, you can post away, ask your questions, or you can send a question to us at, excuse me, at care@sambatree.com. Again, it's care@sambatree.com. All right. So let me see. I'm going to pull this up here. And let's see, get my site up there. And let's see if I can get that to work. All right, there we go. All right, so here we are at sambatree.com. If you're not familiar with the page, make sure you come. This is a one-stop place for most of your health and wellness needs. I mean, we don't sell everything, but we do sell quite a bit. And so our family here at sambatree.com is constantly growing and growing and growing. We had moved on from the citrus stuff. I mean, we were selling citrus. We're here in Arizona. And there has been a lot of, and we didn't realize when we first moved here, this was over a year ago, that Arizona is actually a major hub for citrus fruit. I didn't know that. I'm like, this is the desert. I mean, I wouldn't expect that, but it is. It is. And so we have come across a lot of growers who have, that's given us access to oranges, lemons, grapefruit, pretty much all the citrus fruits. And then we've been able to sell it to you at a very reduced cost. But here's the thing. The citrus that we're selling has seeds in them. It's not like the stuff that you get in the grocery store that doesn't have any seeds in them. No, these oranges, these lemons, the grapefruit that we were selling, it has seeds in them, y'all. So if you've been missing some seeded fruit, you still got a little window left. Okay. Little window. I forgot to check here, but I think we're probably about under 10 boxes right now of seeded citrus boxes. And you in this round you get let's see here. For $9.99, you get 10 to 12 pieces of fruit. Okay. Someone just chimed in. They said, this is Reels in Outdoor Thrills. Hey, You get seeded sweet Valencia oranges and seeded lemons, or you can get let's see, you can get the seeded sweet tangelos. So and shout out to you, Team Truth is in the house as well. So yeah, so you can either go with the Valencia oranges and lemons, or you can go with the tangelos. Both of them, I mean, I'm getting ready to get in there right now and start juicing a bunch of oranges right now. And I got a bunch of tangerines. We couldn't sell those, but I got a bunch of them. I'm getting ready to juice those now. Let me tell you something. Oh my goodness, those things are good. I mean, it's just nothing like fresh fruit, y'all. It really isn't. And so yeah, so we have a few more boxes left, and it's going to be a whole wrap. You hear me? So if you're still interested, go ahead and check that out. Go to sambatree.com for that. Okay. All right. So let's move on here. Another thing that we have is this. We still have this is a very limited stock of certified organic, non-GMO, 100% Turkish cotton bed sheets. These have been going a lot too. We've been selling a lot of these. And if back in the day when we were growing up, we didn't think nothing of it. Having sheets that were made of cotton, having clothes that were made of 100% cotton. But now, we starting to learn a little bit, a thing or two about the importance of cotton and what it does to our body, our neurological system and all of that. And we've been talking about that quite a bit here. We even did a post. If you go to our blog, we did a whole breakdown of that here. If you go to here, the surprising benefits of wearing cotton and the frequency of cotton. We even did so we have a whole blog post on that does a whole breakdown and all of that. We put that together for you. So check that out. So anyway, let me go back here. So yeah, so we still have quite a few of these left. They're going though. They are going. We're selling a bunch of those as well. Make sure if you didn't grab a copy of our Exploring the Wonders of Moringa, if you really, are looking for a quick guide, that you can use, you can always refer to when it comes to understanding moringa and what it does, the benefits, the history of it and all that stuff. Well, we put together an ebook that you can download. It's $3.99. We got that too. So check that out. One of the things I do want to highlight, and I've been noticing customers doing this. So that's why we do these things where we can explain, because one thing I don't mind is explaining things over and over to a certain extent, right? Depending on what I'm talking about. But this right here, I want to make sure, because it's, we're dealing with a new technology here. I know for some people it can be a bit much, so just very quickly, let me just kind of show you this again, because I've been noticing some people have been having a little bit of problems, a little slight confusion with this. So I'll be more than happy to show this again. Hey, Willie's in the house too. Glad to see you there. And anybody else that's chiming in, or maybe you just chilling, sitting in the back. That's okay. Glad that you're here too. Okay. So again, on the right, the bottom right, you see my mouse right here. We have a rewards program. So make sure if you have been a customer with us, for a long time, or you're just starting out, please enroll in this rewards program, because what that means is that everything that you purchase, you get points for that can go towards a future purchase. So you want to make sure you sign up for that. Okay. That's on the bottom right-hand side. Now, the chat option, the chat feature, we call her Miss Ronnie. Okay. The chat, and I have a video that explains it, but I'm here now and I'm explaining it again. The chat option here. This is where if you have any questions regarding order status, regarding if you ask a question about, hey, do you have anything for X? Whatever that X may be. It may be arthritis. It may be high blood pressure. It may be whatever it may be. This is where you would come to ask those questions. Anything that we sell in the store that's store related, this is where you would ask. Okay. Now, what's the key words? Store related. Okay. Because if it's not in the store, Miss Ronnie is not going to really know. Okay. So I'm not going to show everything here because this was someone I was working with earlier today. I've been noticing a few people, they will come here to Miss Ronnie and they will ask her about some type of medical thing. Like for example, like we said, for X, whatever X may be. If it comes back and it says, hey, listen, I don't know anything about it. The reason why it's saying that is because we don't sell anything that may have anything to do with that. Right. But it doesn't mean that we won't ever get that. There's a way you can message us and say, hey, listen, I'm dealing with this particular condition. Can you guys keep a lookout for this? You can let Miss Ronnie know, and then she'll pass it on to us, and then we can keep a lookout for those things, right? So if you ask, so again, anything that's if it's not in the store, Miss Ronnie will say, yeah, I don't really know too much about it. We don't have anything for that. Okay. If you're asking about your order or order status, it's going to start off and say, okay, all right, I'm here to help. Okay, I need from you either your order number or your email address that you use for your order. Okay, and so when you provide it, let's say your email address, when you provide the email address, the next question it's going to ask is, okay, I need a zip code. What's the zip code that you use for your order? And then once you provide those two bits of information, then it will give you all of this that you see here. This is someone's order here. It will give you all the, an outline, bullet point list of everything you ordered. If it's been shipped, it will give you the tracking number and all of that. And it'll give you a link, which you can click on. It will take you to the page where you can track it. Okay. So that's where you go for that. Okay. That's what I just described to you is everything Miss Ronnie is there for. Nothing else. If you have some kind of ailment and you ask it and Miss Ronnie doesn't know, it just simply means we do not have anything in the store that can address that. Okay. Now, what we do have, however, is we have the other thing, which is our Baba Herb Assistant. Okay. This is where you go if you have any health related issues that Miss Ronnie's not able to answer. This is where you go to ask those questions. Okay. Anything from, diet, needing help to put together a meal plan, restaurants that don't have seed oils, for example, that are local near you. What are some fun snacks that you can make, whatever condition you have, what are some recommended teas or whatever that's out there or whatever, anything at all that's outside of what we may have on our platform at this time. Baba Herb Assistant is where you go for that. Okay. But the only thing is when you click on it, click the button, it's going to take you to a page. It's going to take you to Baba Herb Assistant. When you get there, if you do not have a free account, notice I said the word free, all you have to do is follow the prompt. It's very easy. And within probably a minute, you will get access to Baba Herb Assistant. It's very simple. It's very easy. Okay. So that is where you go. If you have any type of health related questions that you have that Miss Ronnie was not able to answer for you. Okay. That's where you go for that. So I just wanted to make sure that I covered those two things there. Last thing I would say too is if you, let's say an order has been shipped and, you're like, okay, well, where's my order? What you should do is, because once we ship an order, what you do is when you get your tracking number, make sure if it's UPS, you go to the UPS site and you follow what's on there. If it's USPS, you do the same thing. Okay. That is going to be your first line of getting information that you need regarding the shipping of your order. That's going to be the first place. Now, as you're following the tracking, and let's say if the tracking says, it's been, it seemed like it's just hovering in one spot for a long time. Yeah. Then reach out to us. That means we have to get involved and we'll investigate along with you. Okay. But understand, once we ship it, we don't have any control over the package once it's in the hands of UPS or USPS. So you have to go to them first. I have to emphasize that because thanks to Amazon it has everyone thinking now for small businesses like ours that we control the whole shipping process, and we don't. Once we hand it over to them, it's pretty much in their hands and in their control. But like I said, if you notice that it's been not moving for a while, then that's when you can contact us, because they'll usually need us to intervene and answer a few questions or whatever. Okay. So just keep that in mind too. Okay. When you get your tracking number, we've had some people even say, well, I haven't gotten my confirmation email, or I haven't received the tracking number. Make sure you check your spam folder. These email platforms, I'm telling you, they change rules all the time. And we'll have customers where sometimes they're getting their emails just fine, and then email platform, they'll change they'll change up, and then next thing you know, people aren't getting emails anymore because it's all going into spam. So again, make sure you're checking your spam folders if you're expecting any kind of communication from us. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that as well. All right. So I think that's all. Let me see what else I have on here. When I say that's all, I'm just talking about this, and we're going to get into the news in a moment here. Samba University. Let me make sure, again, a reminder, if you haven't signed up for that, if you're interested in learning about just an intro class to using ChatGPT or getting into AI, this is going to be the class for you. Okay. And this is a place where we're going to, where we'll be doing teaching, on things like ChatGPT, digital AI artwork, also AI music as well. We'll be teaching on that. Okay. And when I say we, it's actually me. Okay. We'll be teaching on these things here. And, these will be fun classes. We'll make sure that we make them very fun, very informative. We'll be covering everything from, using ChatGPT to, design a room, for example, or using ChatGPT how to create things, or if you're wanting to get into starting your own business, how to use the tool for that. If you're a writer, if you're whatever it may be, we're going to use this opportunity to really kind of help you to understand just the basics of those things. Okay. You're not going to come out as an expert, but you are going to come out way more informed and a lot more equipped for this technological wave that we're in right now. And just because you may be of a certain age, don't think for one moment you're like, that's just for the young people. No, it's for you too. And it's going to be very important for you to understand and to know this stuff, because doing simple Google searches ain't it anymore. It isn't. And so that's where we're here to help you and kind of guide you with this. And like I said, it's going to be jam packed with a lot of stuff. But like I said, because it's being taught by someone that is of a certain age, I'm not going to overwhelm you. You know what I mean? And we're just going to take our time. We're going to walk slow with it, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the process. And then you'll walk away. You'll have a booklet that I'll make sure I have available for you that you can use for your own reference. Okay. So that's $30. And, that's not, in other words, if you got a household of people and you pay $30, I'm not like, okay, it's got to be $30 a person. Otherwise, you got to block off grandma and all that. Tell them, get out the room because you didn't pay. No, it ain't like that. Okay. So $30. Okay. For everybody. And in your family and all that, y'all can all sit down and ask questions. This is why we're really encouraging people to get into the live version, because that's going to be the time. If you have any questions for me, you can ask them. Right? Because later on, we will make these classes available as a downloadable thing where you can stream it on your own time. We'll make that available at a later time, but you won't be able to really ask any questions. So that's why I'm trying to get as many people as possible in this live version so that you can ask whatever questions you may have. And again, that's just going to sambatree.com and then click on Samba University. And there you go. You will get that information. Okay. All right. So there you go. So let's move on here. Lots of things have been going on in health news. I mean, it just continues. And, we've still got this so-called measles outbreak that was going on in Texas. And what came about of that is that it wasn't really there was an outbreak, but it wasn't measles. It was because of the, that children were getting. and that was causing this thing. And so that came out. We may touch on that particular story later, but I do want to touch on this story here. And this is something that I posted on another platform that I have. Let's see, that'll be on desktop. This story right here, and it just continues to happen. There you go, right there. What you're looking at right now, this has been increasing. I don't know if you guys have been noticing this or not, but this has been increasing, where more and more we're seeing these stories of people that are like literally losing their minds. I personally have stories of my own that I'm not going to really share because I don't know if the people are out there or not, but I'm just saying, I don't know if they're out there listening, but what I'm telling you is that there are more and more of these stories. What you're looking at on the screen right now on the top left, this was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where this woman just decided to strip down and just was yelling and screaming and all of that. And this is all recent. And then it was like a few days later, on the top right, you had another woman. She decided to strip all the way down, and she was just running and screaming and then throwing things and stuff like that. That happened like a few days later. This was like within the last week and a half. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, on the bottom left, you had a woman that was on an airplane. This was going to come into Phoenix, I think. And she stripped all the way down and was going all up and down the aisle. And again, she was dancing, screaming and hollering and all of this stuff. And then on the bottom right, this was on either I-20 or one of the highways in Atlanta. Somebody's driving, and you just see this woman, not a stitch of clothes on. She was just walking in the middle of the highway. So, you see these things, and it's a little bit more than just, tisk, 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 that kind of thing. But I'm not just going by these four things. There was actually an article that came up that, again, it's the mainstream media. They're going to do how they're going to do. They're going to try to talk around these things and say, oh, well, it's too much sunlight. Oh, it's the water. Oh, it's the air, the wind. When you get too much wind, it's doing something to people's brain. No. There is not a such thing as coincidence. When we see these things going on, you got to go use a process of elimination, because this ain't normal. This does not happen. It should not happen every day. Just like you shouldn't have all of these young people dropping dead because of cancer and heart attacks every day. This is not normal. And what this system wants to do is try to convince you that this is normal. That's not normal to have 20-something-year-olds or even 30-year-olds just dropping dead because they had a heart attack or whatever, a brain aneurysm. These things aren't normal. They are not normal things. And it's also, what's not normal is this influx of individuals who are literally, their minds are just going haywire, where they're doing things like what you just saw just now on the screen. They just stripping their clothes off. That's a little extreme, but there are other people that stories that I'm aware of people who just, they seem like they were very bright and smart or whatever. And then when that thing came, it just right after that, that's when signs start showing up. It's like, they're not, seem like they don't, there's just something about them that seems like it's a little off. And I'm telling you, this is something that is unfortunately becoming the new normal. But what I'm telling you is, no, this is not something that many of us grew up with. We didn't grow up seeing 20-year-olds dropping dead of heart attacks. Okay. You got to be honest with yourself and ask, what was the factor that we all had to deal with that caused this? And you got to be willing to ask that question. And then once you get to the answer, boy, oh boy, that's going to open up a whole nother can of worms for you. But you got to be honest with these things. Okay. All right, let's move on here. Let's see what else we got on deck here when it comes to the health news here. Let me see. This is a video here, and I just show some random things, when I do these health reports here. It's not in any particular order, but check this out. I thought about this, back in, when everybody was made to take the, animals, if you had pets, it made me think. I was like, man, think of all the shots we had to give our pets, and we really think nothing of it. I think what got me into thinking about it, it was during that same time, during the COVID stuff. We had a cat. We had another cat, and the cat was healthy. At least I thought was healthy. And all of a sudden, it was just the way the cat was acting. And finally, we took it to the vet. And the vet, we had no idea what was going on. We just saw that the cat was very lethargic and was just moving slow and all of that. We didn't expect to leave that vet without the cat, meaning that it was a one-way trip for our cat. We had no idea that was the case. They told us, they said, oh, it's like full-blown cancer. And she was like, yeah, there's really nothing we can do other than send it on to cat heaven. You know what I mean? And then they told me, I said, well, where is this cancer? And they pointed where this cancer was. And I said, I said, isn't this interesting? Because that is the same place where our cat received her shot. And so I was like, that's something. And so this video here made me really think about that even more. And on the top here, let me pull this up. Hold on. Here we go. On the top here, it says, did you know that a tiny 5-pound dog gets the exact same dose of a rabies vaccination as a 150-pound dog? Did you know that? Man, that's something. I mean, the stuff that we do to our animals. Anyway, take a listen to this video.
I've been trying to convey this message to people for years. The rabies vaccine is so dangerous. Couple reasons why. They will administer the same amount of the vaccine to a 150-pound dog as they will to a dog that is 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. That fire hoses your animal with toxins. The same thing goes for our cats. We actually want to follow the science on this. One rabies vaccine will stay in the system for 10 years. So why is it they went from every 5 years to 3 years to every single year now? Follow the money. This is what this comes down to. Every single time you administer one of these shots, you are losing years off of your pet's life. It is just not worth it. If you need more help on keeping your pet healthy, follow along.
Why is it that this 1 cc dose of rabies vaccine, this is the amount that we gave to a 150-pound Great Dane, and we're giving the same vaccine volume to a teeny little 3-pound toy poodle? How can that be? And then you really start to wonder, why are we seeing a rising incidence of cancer in our dogs? If I had to point towards a few things to really look at, I'd look towards over-vaccination. Because when we bombard our dogs, our cats, with multiple antigens every year, multiple foreign bodies that we're injecting into them, what do we think is going to happen? You get an inappropriate immune response. You have the immune system not being able to work the way it should be, allowing for things like uncontrolled cell growth, hence cancer. There are some vaccine protocols that can list up to 8 to 9 different vaccines potentially given to your dog, given to your cat, almost yearly. I mean, it's a pile of vaccines.
That's sad. But they've been doing this for a long time to our pets and our animals and stuff, and our friends, They've been doing this for a long time. And even with that,
I've been trying to convey this message to people.
Sorry. Hold on. Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. And so, they make it extremely difficult if you have a pet, if you want to travel with your pet, like on an airplane. A lot of airlines, they kind of mandate that and tell you have to get them vaccinated, and otherwise you won't be able to travel with your pet. So it's a very difficult thing these days to have a pet, that you're not put in a situation where you have to vaccinate it. To each his own on that, but make the best decision and keep that in mind too, of what's really happening when we give our pets these different things, because they're literally doing widespread tests by giving pets these vaccinations, and they don't really care. They're the guinea pigs. Our pets are literally guinea pigs for the pharmaceutical industries, unfortunately. Take a look at this video here. Think about this next time when you are getting some type of food and they mention natural flavors, what's in it, and what they're actually doing. Take a listen.
Natural flavors come from nature, but not necessarily from what the label implies. They extract its flavor molecules from the fruit on the tree. Then back in the lab, they mimic Mother Nature's molecules with chemicals.
So what we do is just manipulate them and create with them and give the impression of, papaya.
These are super sniffers, super tasters. They are plotting how to move the flavors they find in this grove to your supermarket shelf and then on to your stomach.
In our fruit flavors we're talking about, we want, a burst in the beginning and maybe a finish that doesn't linger too much so that you want more of it.
And you don't want a long linger because you're not going to eat more of it if it lingers.
But that suggests something else.
Exactly.
Which is called addiction.
Exactly.
You're trying to create an addictive taste.
It's a good word.
Or something that they want to go back for again and again.
Food companies know that flavor is what makes repeat customers.
You hear that? So they are creating in real time addicts, to these fruit, these natural flavors that they call so-called natural flavors. To the best of my ability, when I'm out shopping, it is so difficult. It is so difficult to find, food that does not include natural flavors. It just makes me so angry because I'm like, why is it got to be? Sometimes it's just a drink. It's a fruit drink. It's a fruit drink. And then it's like, it may be, I don't know, name the flavor, name the fruit, right? And then they'll say, oh yeah, we added natural fruit flavors. Why? Just put the fruit in and that's it. The fruit itself has its own natural flavors. And, so it's becoming more and more difficult. That's why I'm really liking this juicing thing I've been doing. So that's all I've been really doing for most of the flavored drinks I drink. It's usually like a tea that, my wife will brew and we drink it like an iced tea, or we just juice fruit. That's what we do. But the stuff from like in the bottle in the store, I just can't do it because they always are adding these other foreign things in there that I don't really need and quite honestly don't want. Let's move to this next item here that I found. How many of you have heard of SIDS? That's sudden infant death syndrome. I remember this was a big thing some years ago where they were just saying how children were just all of a sudden just turning up unalived, and in their cribs and stuff. And some of the speculation was, well, maybe because how we laid them down and all of this stuff here. But more and more, the evidence is pointing to that. No, it's not that. It's because of things like this. What I'm about to read to you, paramedic here too. I used to be very pro-vax and thought anti-vax people were crazy and stupid because that's just what we were taught, how we were taught. But when I finally looked into it myself, after realizing all my SIDS calls were in 2 and 4 months old, and all of them within a couple of days of vax, I knew there was so much more to it. And then they go on and talk about that. But I'm seeing more and more stories like this where people are starting to see the connection. Folks, you do not need to give your children these things. You do not. I don't care what these people say. You don't need it. Uh-oh, hold on for a second. Hold on, someone's trying to call me. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. Ask questions always. If your doctor is telling you you have to get this stuff, ask questions. But I'm telling you right now, you don't need it. Your immune system already comes pre-built with a lot of things. Give the immune system time to build. That's why you need breast milk, for example. Breast milk, breastfeeding your kids is such an asset, when it comes to helping to build up the immune system of your children. Don't let these doctors talk you. If you're a mother or expectant mother, don't let these doctors talk you out of breastfeeding your children. Okay? Don't let some of these trends out here, these people tell you, oh, if you breastfeed your child, it's going to make your breast sag more and all this other stuff. No, that is the best thing for your child to help build up their immune system is by breastfeeding them, right? So you want to make sure you're doing that. Let's move on here. Let's see what is the next thing here. Just a couple more stories, and I'm already looking at my time like, yeah, whatever. I'm trying, y'all. This is a representative. I believe this is a video that was taken back in 2023. This is a member of the USDA Nutrition Guidelines Committee. I want you to hear what she is saying about obesity. Let's just take a listen here real quick here.
If you diet, you lose weight, right?
The number one cause of obesity is genetics. That means if you are born to parents that have obesity, you have a 50 to 85% likelihood of having the disease yourself, even with optimal diet, exercise, sleep management, stress management. So when people see families that have obesity, the assumption is, what are they feeding those kids?
If you diet,
all right, let me
you lose weight.
Take that off here.
Right?
Okay, so one thing about obesity too, genetics. Can genetics play a part of it? It could. But a lot of that has to do, let me share with you a story here, okay? I went to a doctor. This was years ago. I'm trying to think how long. This was some years ago. And, when you go to the doctor, they, you go through a whole list and they're sheets after sheet, and they're telling you, okay, write down your family history, your health history is everything you need to know, whatever, right? So I wrote down as much as I knew. I wasn't going to call my parents at that, then on something like that. I just like whatever, right? There was some things I thought I knew, and then I put down on one of them. I don't know why I did this. I said diabetes. Now, looking back now, I'm like, why did I even put that? But I put diabetes down there. I'm serious. I literally don't know why I put that down there. But I would just, after a while, it was just like, okay, this. I'm just marking things, right? And I put that down. And so the doctor comes. He's checking me out. Everything, I was healthy, right? For the most part, I was healthy. But he comes back to me and he says, well, I see your parents had diabetes. Let me tell you something. You don't have diabetes now, but let me tell you something, sir. You going to have it. It's inevitable. You're going to have diabetes. That's it. It's just case closed. That's it. I'm telling you, this is what he was communicating to me. He was prophesying to me that I was going to have diabetes simply because I marked the check box, but I really didn't confirm it. I thought I knew. But he was here prophesying this to me, saying that I was going to have diabetes simply because my parents had it. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but I don't have diabetes, and his prophecy has come to a crash, and he's a false prophet. My point is this: much of our, when it comes to things like obesity, any food related, a lot of diseases can be tied to how we eat, how we exercise, how we live our lives. The reason why in this nation that we live in here in the United States, we see so many obese people versus some of these other nations is because of our lifestyles, our sedentary lifestyle. That's where a lot of this overweightness that you see happening in our country, that's where it comes from. Our cultures is not, we're not as, United States at one time was an agricultural, mostly agricultural based country, a culture, but now everybody just sits in front of their computers, sit down and watch their phones. That's it. When it comes to growing your own food or getting out there or walking to work or walking to school and all of that, people don't really do that too much. And, when it comes to bike riding, well, we got electric bikes now, so you're not really pedaling anymore. But my point is this woman here, what she says, no, that is not true at all. And the reason why this is dangerous is because it takes away the incentive of people to work out, to try to change their situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, you have to learn to listen to your body, like our dear Sister Violet at her channel, Listen to Your Body. You have to learn to listen to your body and know that people oftentimes will lose weight at different rates. and you have to learn what diet is right for you. Now, I saw a video recently. It was a black woman, young black woman, who basically came out and said, well, the reason why, she's basically made the claim that, she made the claim that dieting itself is a racist thing. Come on, man. No, you just can't get the neck bone out of your mouth. I'm sorry, I had to say it. You can't get the wing out of your mouth. I said it again. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But this is really what it comes down to for a lot of people. Then you got and it's not just food, there's also stress. Stress plays a big role in it. A lot of times when we talk about fat and what fat stores, it's storing, fat stores toxins. It also stores stress too. So if you're always stressed out or whatever, it can also put weight on you. You understand what I'm saying? This is why, like I was saying earlier and talking about the importance of wellness in your mind, right? With these people stripping down butt naked and walking around and all this stuff, making sure you're taking care of your brain, your mind, creating a sanctuary of peace in your own home, and, not disassociating yourself with people who are bringing nothing but chaos in your life. These things all do play a factor in your weight and your wellness. You know what I'm saying? And we also, other things, we live in a society too that's very weight obsessed. Some people body type, it may be a little bit heavier, right? But but you can be healthy too. That is the key. But no, just someone telling you, and someone that this high rank in the USDA telling you, oh, honey, basically it's genetic, ain't nothing you can do about it. No, that's just run away from that. No, that's not 100% true. And you should do things and seek out how to better your health and wellness. And you can. And there's a lot of testimonies out there of people doing it. Let me just share with you this one last thing. This is from Dr. Andy Wakefield, and he's addressing the whole, the measles thing real quick here. And then we'll be done here. My time again. There we go. I guess that's okay. Maybe I just expect too much. I don't know. There's so many things I want to cover. But anyway, here we go.
Beyond the 1920s and long before the introduction of the vaccine, there was a dramatic fall in case fatality rate. Measles was becoming rapidly a milder and milder and milder disease, such that the mortality from measles had fallen by over 99% by the time the vaccine came in. It was nothing to do with the vaccine. So measles was becoming milder and milder and milder. And if we had left it alone, that mortality would have approached and maybe even reached zero. And therefore, we didn't need to protect children against measles. In fact, measles, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, actually confers or appears to confer benefit, enhancement of cellular immune responses against, for example, cancer down the line. So we made a mistake, and it's too late. That's not a helpful argument now because, obviously we vaccinated, but we need to get it in context. And measles is eminently treatable with vitamin A, 200,000 international units at least on 2 consecutive days. And it's a mild disease. So this anxiety is really more about, I think, the exposure of the system to the misrepresentation of measles that has taken place rather than the dangers of measles itself.
There you go. And if you're not a subscriber to Children's Health Defense, make sure you check that out. And they're on Twitter. I don't know what other platforms they're on, but make sure you check them out. They have a lot of great information on there too about such topics. So make sure you check that out when you get a chance. So friends, family, thank you so much for tuning in to our weekly health broadcast here at sambatree.com. Remember, if you have any questions at all, pertaining to your health and wellness and wanting to find solutions from that perspective, make sure you reach out to us at care@sambatree.com. Again, it's care@sambatree.com, or you could just visit our website, which is sambatree.com, and check us out. Like I said, again, we got about, I believe it's under 10 citrus boxes remaining. So that's one way you could start off your health and wellness journey too. It's never too late. Pick up one today, and we'll have a lot more going on. I'll probably be posting a new blog this weekend, so take a look out for that. And that's it. And check your email, because I think we may have an email going out too in pretty soon. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.